everyone. Welcome to another episode of Bees Buzz with Stevie D and my co-host G Hikes. This is the first episode of the 2015-16 NHL Bruins season. We have a lot in store for you this year. Hopefully we'll improve our audio and video. It's still a work in progress here. But anyway, the show is for you. We hope you enjoy it. It's roughly an hour long. But we will be covering the first few games of the season, and we will be right back after this message from the Bruins. Get it done. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Bees Buzz with Stevie D and his co-host G Hikes. So, G Hikes, we're about 10 games into the season here, and well, not quite 10, but been a kind of a rough road lately. But the last game against Arizona showed some promise. So.
They did. I mean, they won the game 6-0, which was great. First star of the game was David Krejci with 2 goals on 4 shots. Right now, he's got 7 goals and 7 assists with 14 points, right up there with the scoring leaders. Second star of the game was Tuukka Rask with 22 saves. Tuukka got off to a rough start like everybody else. Nice to see him also get his first shutout of the season. In fact, actually, I believe it's his 27th all-time shutout with the Bruins, and it actually ties him for 4th place with Eddie Johnston.
Awesome.
Yeah, exactly. And our third star of the game was young Joe Morrow, the Bruins defenseman who actually was on injured reserve for a while with the flu, and he scored his first goal of the season, and what a snipe shot that was. If you get a chance to, go and take a look at it on the replays,
Absolutely.
But Krejci, though, I mean, he's on fire, and of course, he's got something to prove because last year he was injured. He had that groin problem, I think, that was like, it just dragged on all season, and he actually did not. He only played in 47 games last year, and he didn't even score his 7th goal until I think sometime in February.
Yeah, it was January. Yeah, he had 7 goals in January. They were saying
exactly. So you also had, like we said, Morrow scored a nice goal. Marchand, he scored a nice snipe. I mean, he started off kind of slow, but he seems to be picking it up. Brett Connolly now 3 goals in 3 games. And, it's nice to see from him. They got him at the end of last year, and unfortunately when they got him, he got hurt right off the get-go in practice, so he actually only got into 5 games, and he's always had potential, but, and also, too, I think that Claude sent a little message when they sat him out one game earlier in the season because he didn't feel that he was performing well, and, since he's gotten back into the lineup, and the reason why he got back into it was because Matt Bolesky's been out with an upper body injury, but anyways, needless to say, I mean, it woke him up, and now he scored 3 goals in 3 games, and then, of course, Jimmy Hayes also scored for the Bruins.
Jimmy May Hayes.
Jimmy May Hayes, yep, our local boy from Dorchester, and
brother plays for the Rangers.
Yep, exactly. Yep. So, anyways, but it was nice to see.
Yeah.
Just going to talk about some of the during the game. You had Kevin Miller. He went down with an injury. Him and Tobias Rader of the Coyotes, they kind of collided in the corner.
Yes.
And Miller got a little bit tripped up. He got up a little bit gingerly. He came back out and played 2 shifts. But, with the score and the Bruins had the game well in hand, I don't think that Julian wanted to take any chances, so
No.
he sat him out. And also the same thing with Pasternak. He actually took a shot off the ankle from Joe Morrow, as a matter of fact, his own teammate. One of those accidental things. It happens, you know.
Hockey.
Yeah, exactly. So he's out, and he's day-to-day. And Jonas Kemppainen, the new Finnish player that actually scored a big goal the other night in one of the Bruins' victories. He got his first of the season. It was the Friday night game against the Islanders.
Yeah.
And he's out with some undisclosed injury, but we'll see. With the Bruins coming up, they're going to be playing the road trip starting off Friday, and they might very well either call up a couple of guys from Providence, depending on what the status is. But we'll just
Get
keep
some rookies in.
Yep, exactly. So far it seemed to work pretty well. Okay,
I mean, the rookies are looking good this year, and like we were talking earlier, they played a team, Arizona, that came home. They needed their first home win. Arizona was on the road, their last road trip game. They had played the night before, but the Bruins got the job done. They didn't just beat them 2-1, 3-2. They kicked their butt, and that's what you had to do.
Yeah.
So it showed some promise. And at the beginning of the year, I said Julian is not going to make it to Thanksgiving, and it was looking like that at the beginning of the year. But right now they are playing maybe that, like you said, that
60 minute effort. That's what they need
and
to do.
That's what we need. Never mind this sitting on lead crap. You get a 2-goal lead and you're letting them come back.
Yeah.
It's just, that's unacceptable.
Right.
And, we were talking about the overtime earlier, where last year it seemed like every game was going into overtime and they were losing them in either a shootout or the overtime. And you can't have that this year. So they had one overtime game this year. And
unfortunately, they lost it.
Right.
That was the game at home against the Flyers that they were leading 4-2. They let them back into that game, and then unfortunately, with the 3-on-3, Spooner got called for a hook. That was a terrible call because that Philadelphia guy, he grabbed the stick under his arm. He grabbed the stick, but he sold it to the refs, and then you get that 4-on-3 in the overtime period, and that's I'll tell you what, I mean, that's a given. It just seems like that. But you know what? I'll tell you what. I would rather have it that way than have the game decided in a shootout.
Right.
Because at least,
I love the 3-and-3.
Yeah, it's really exciting. I got to say,
10 minutes, get rid of the shootout.
Yeah, Yeah, exactly. So, but anyways, I wrote up a list of different things that we can talk about as far as positives so far this year. Oh, first of all, congratulations to Patrice Bergeron, who's him and his wife just had a new baby boy, Zach. And, he's, I'll tell you what, Bergeron's been kind of quiet this year, but yet he's second on the team in scoring with 4, 5, and 9. So,
good. Let's not depend on him like all last year.
Yeah, exactly. It's nice to see other guys step up like Krejci and Eriksson. They both, Krejci's got the 14 points. Eriksson and Bergeron both have 9 points. So it's nice to see some of these guys stepping up, okay? So we talked about the play of David Krejci up in the top in scoring. And then the power play. The Bruins power play right now is at 33%, which is the best in the NHL.
Well,
and
finally.
You know what I've noticed too is moving the puck around the entire zone, taking more shots on net, and not trying to force the puck into the middle in the front of the goalie.
And they seem to have a set team now.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you notice it, the Bruins they've got the puck spread out. They're throwing it around in different corners, maybe getting it out to the point and blasting it. But it's causing the teams, the team on defense, to keep on going from one area to the other and getting people out of position.
That's what you're supposed to do.
Which is what we weren't doing before.
No. And if you looked, Tampa has a similar. Well, actually, Tampa has probably started. They have this where they pass the puck and they get it right in the middle there, and they always have somebody set up on that to the goalie's right, but it would be in the rink. It's the left-hand face-off circle, and they feed that puck right over to him. Boom! Tampa does that all the time, and it's very successful. And if you notice, the Bruins have been doing that, and you know who likes that slot is Pasternak. And sometimes Krug will move up into that slot. So they do. Their power play. The last few years, it's if you're a hockey fan, when your team gets a power play, of course you cheer. You want your team to be extra strength. I used to get bummed unless the Bruins had a good lead, because it would take it was 2 minutes of wasted time. If the Bruins were behind and they got a power play, I used to say, oh crap, that's going to help the other team, because the Bruins aren't going to score, and it's 2 minutes less. They have it. I know this sounds ridiculous, but that's how it was last year.
Yeah,
it actually helped the other team when the Bruins had a power play.
Yeah, how many times did the Bruins go without a shot on net on a power play?
It would eat the clock up for in the other team. It would favor them. If the Bruins were leading, I'd love it, because I'm like, well, there's 2 minutes gone where we don't, as long as they don't get a shot here to go,
Yeah, right.
And it's the truth.
Yeah.
So this year, finally, when the Bruins get a power play, I'm like, yeah, let's go. Let's get the puck in there.
Yeah, it's a good feeling. Another positive spot thing this year is the play of Louis Eriksson. He seems to be filling in.
Yes, he's doing very well.
When the Bruins have had injuries, like when Bolesky was out, they moved Eriksson from one line to another, and he's 2-7-9 so far this year. And, like I say, he's a versatile guy. He's great at killing the penalties, but he's also showing his offensive prowess. And he may be coming into what, this year being healthy. Last year he was fairly healthy too, but I think now he may be coming into his own as a Bruin. I know everybody expected a lot from him in that Tyler Seguin trade. But, unfortunately, he ended up with a concussion, but now he seems to, really fit well. And maybe, going forward with the way that the Bruins are playing as far as a mindset with how they're dealing with each game from game to game,
right.
He'll probably fit in a lot better. How about veteran backup goalie Jonas Gustafsson? He's
I like him.
2-0 so far this year.
He's doing very well.
Yep, it's nice. He played for Toronto and Detroit in this backup role. And you know what? I was listening to 98.5 last week.
He looks like a goalie. He looks like he's out there.
Yeah, I was listening to
goalies are out there.
Yeah, I was listening to 98.5 last week. And these guys, I forget who it was that was hosting the show or whatever, but anyways, they started kind of like throwing down Gustafsson, saying, well, you know what, those 2 games he won, if Tuukka was in net, he would have won those games. And you know what, I can't see him. I see Tuukka playing 70 games this year and all that stuff. First of all, anybody, and I know that some people had started like a goaltending controversy because, Gustafsson was 2-0 and Tuukka did never win. It's like, number one, there's no goalie controversy. Tuukka is going to be the number one goalie, make or break, Gustafsson, he's a good backup. But you know what? That's the role that he's always played, and that's the role that the Bruins got him for. And I'm glad that they went out and got a veteran goalie and not like last year, Let's go with a rookie goalie or a goalie that hasn't any experience. Most of these goalies that haven't had any experience, if you're going to use them like once a week or once every week and a half, they're not going to be very effective. And we saw that last season.
And last year they burned Rask out.
Yeah, they did. So, Rask,
this
is the thing. Rask cannot play in 70 games.
No.
Rask, we need Gustafsson to step up and play somewhere between 20 to 25 games.
And the back-to-back nights, too.
Yeah, and get Tuukka into around maybe about 55 games or so, give or take a few. That's what we need to do, because at the end of last year, we could see that he was burnt out. Just way too many games, So anyways, I think 55 games is where he needs to be. Another thing, Steve, I know that this has always been a favorite topic of ours, and I know we were talking about this earlier, is Claude Julien, Now, last year, he was just committed to that defensive style. We saw an awful lot of games that, like you said, 2-1, 2-2, 2-2 going into overtime, then into the shootout. The Bruins were like, what, 4-11 last year in shootouts or whatever. Might have been one of the reasons why that they didn't make the playoffs. But now, Don Sweeney takes over as the general manager. Peter Chiarelli is gone. So now I think that a lot of people were expecting possibly Claude Julien to go.
Right.
Okay.
I was. I mean.
I know. I think you were hoping, Steve.
Well, you clean house, you rebuild it, and you got to get another coach. But hey, like I've always said, as much as I pick on him, I do like him.
Right.
You got to let you can't have a team full of Bergerons. That's all I can say. You've got to have players that yeah, of course they got to come back, but you've got to let them play forward and score goals.
Right.
They got rid of all them guys.
Yeah, right.
They got rid of Sagan. They got rid of even Boychuk, who was a what do you call it? A forward playing defenseman, offensive defenseman.
Right.
He hates that.
Yeah, but
and he's letting his rookies play because he's got no choice this year.
Well, I think Sweeney and him have always been worked fairly close because Sweeney was the player developmental guy for quite a few years as well. So, they had some meetings and stuff like that before even the start of training camp to where they needed to be. So, anyways, I think that Claude has gotten on the same page with Don Sweeney because I'll tell you what, he seems to be committed to a more balanced style of play.
Exactly.
He's creating more offense. I mean, granted, that 0-3 start, you know what? I put that up to growing pains because you know what? I mean, you get into the regular season, and it just seemed to me like that training camp just came and went with the exhibition games, just came and went like the snap of a finger.
It was gone. Yeah.
So needless to say, at the beginning of the season, they still had some blending to do, and I know that after 0-3, I know that there were a lot of people ready to jump off the Tobin, and they're saying to me, "Oh, I can't believe those guys." Why don't you and your two friends there? You guys better sell your season tickets or whatever. The Bruins, and then they got the Bruins going to give you a reduction on the season tickets. Well, and I'm there like, you know what? Hold your horses, buddy. I said, the Bruins are going on the road here. I said it's going to give them a little chance to bond, and they're not just going to stand pat and just say, hey, okay, we're going to accept this. They're going to try different things, you know. So I mean, Claude, like you said, he's been working the younger players in now and giving them chances to play. Except also too, Claude's been sending messages. Now, when the Bruins were in the middle of that 0-3 start, there was one game. I'm trying to remember whether it was the game against, maybe it was the game against Tampa, where who was it? Matt Irwin was in back of the net, okay, and he had all kinds of time to pass the puck. He couldn't make he couldn't make a decision. The next thing you see, bang! Oh, it was Winnipeg. So you see, bang, bang, out in front, and what's his name there? The guy that used to play for the Bruins. Jeez.
Yeah. You got to ask me names.
Brain fart.
You know me and names.
Brain fart. But anyways, he ended up, giving the puck wide open out in front. The puck got stolen, wide open in front of the net, and bang, in the net for a goal. So needless to say, the Bruins put him on waivers the next day. He cleared waivers, and he ended up in Providence. Which and hopefully he'll make it back because he's an experienced defenseman. But that sent them a message. Also too, like for instance, now the other night there when Spooner scored a nice goal. Okay, Spooner was having a lousy game, right? So this is another thing that Claude has decided to do. Claude is now changing the lines during the game, which was he never did that. The only one that he's turned into a Mike Babcock Jr. But needless to say, it sent a message to Spooner. He sent Spooner to the fourth line.
Exactly.
So Spooner turns around and he scores a goal. And
that's Jimmy Hayes. Bring him up, get him off the fourth line. Who's doing outstanding is Kelly.
Yes,
another guy I pick on. I always said he had great penalty killing skills. But boy, is he the Kelly we expected, and that's a plus. That's a big plus. I'm glad to see that.
Yeah, exactly.
And Campbell's gone, so thankfully.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it was like having two Kellys. Now I dig two Kellys, but he's been a big improvement, which is great. That's good news.
Yeah.
See, I get positive now and then.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's rubbing off on you.
Yeah, see? Something's got to be, yeah.
But anyways, no, I mean that's all nice stuff to see, and that's what was needed here, you know, because I think that before, I think that Claude was afraid to give the younger guys a chance and get out there, but you know what? Now with some of these other guys gone, and another thing too is like when a guy has a bad game or whatever, it's like, they're going to sit him out for a game, and they have so far, and it's sent messages, I mean, and you start to think back to last year, maybe if Luch sat out a couple of games, or if they put Luch playing in the fourth line for a while.
Yeah.
Maybe it would have sent a message to him.
Exactly.
I don't know.
He wouldn't do it.
We won't know now.
Right.
But, this seems to be like the new Claude Julien to me, and I like it.
And he did sit somebody last couple of games ago, and he had a good game the other day, and I can't think of who it was because there's so many new faces.
Yeah, right.
I haven't learned the roster.
Yeah. Right. Well, actually, Brett Connolly.
Was it Connolly?
He
Yeah.
sat him one game because he wasn't playing effectively. Connolly,
it was Connolly.
Yeah,
and he had a good game.
Connolly didn't play, and then he came back, and now he scored 3 goals in the last 3 games.
Right, and he figured in that first game goal by Krejci, he came in after I think, what do you call it? Eriksson gave him the pass to Krejci. They came in more like a 2-on-1. Connolly played, as if Krejci was going to pass it to him. He was a good decoy, and Krejci just fired 2 great goals he had that night in the top shelf.
Yeah, right.
A lot of teams are going, finally, top shelf, which I've been saying all last season. You got to go upstairs.
Yeah.
Just playing the puck on the ground, you're not going to score.
Yeah, let's put it.
Well, you will, but not much.
Yeah, let's put it this way. I haven't seen many pucks go through the goalies. So
no, and
we need to. Yeah,
we're just still missing their shots and hitting the post, but not as
1,
bad.
2,
right.
3, 4, 5.
Right. Never mind the 5. Go for them corners.
Yeah, I know.
Too much coffee.
Yeah, exactly. But hey, so what do you think of Zach Rinaldo so far?
Don't like him.
Yeah.
Don't want him. Didn't like it when they got him. We don't need another Marchand and Kenny Linsman on this team. I don't like troublemakers. I don't like dirty hockey players. You want an enforcer, fine. There's got to be someone else.
Yeah.
He's not a great fighter anyway.
No. Well, he one thing I will say about him, I mean, when he is out there, he does show some spark, but at the same time, it's like he's not going to be a Sean Thornton.
No, he's too dirty.
Yeah,
yeah. He's lucky he didn't get suspended for that hit. And to me, that was not a headshot. It looked bad. It was a chest shot.
Yeah.
And he had the elbow up a little high. It was a penalty.
Yeah.
Probably should have got a misconduct. But I think the league made the right call not suspending him.
Yeah, I think so, too. They said that by giving the 5-minute major and throwing him out of the game was penalty enough. But, it's kind of ironic now. Okay, before that game, the Bruins had went 6 games, and Ronaldo had been in all 6. And, he had been basically, he hadn't gotten into any, taken and made controversial hits like that and stuff like that. So they were actually, I think it was maybe on the radio, Dave Gosher was interviewing him before the game, and he made the comment that that he asked him about Zach Rinaldo playing against his former team, and he said, well, so far everything's been good with Zach. He's not, he hasn't done the antics that he had in Philadelphia, and then needless to say, against his old team,
all of a sudden
he ends up getting thrown out of the game. But we'll see how that goes. I know also, too, they have Max Talbot is actually down, and he's in Providence now because he finally cleared waivers from the beginning of the season. So we'll see if he can make an appearance and get back. Another thing I noticed, too, is remember long gone and forgotten, it seems like, Seth Griffin. Remember when the Bruins...
I was going to ask you about him.
Yeah, remember when the Bruins came up, brought him up last year, and he
got
scored that
goal.
beautiful fancy goal and some other goals, but he wasn't playing much defense. Well, they sent him back down. But anyways, he was actually injured. So I think he missed all of training camp with the Bruins. So needless to say, he was on the injured reserve roster. So now that I think he's healthy enough to start playing again,
I'd like
Bruins,
to see him up.
Yeah, just the other day, the Bruins finally they assigned him to Providence.
Good.
So we'll see what happens with him now because he did show a lot of potential when he was up.
I haven't checked, but they last week when I checked, the Bruins, the AHL leading scorer was a Providence Bruin, and I can't think of his name. I apologize. I didn't do my homework. But, whoever he is, he may be on his way up one of these days if they need him. I mean, right now the offense has been clicking. You were getting back to Zach Rinaldo. I've got this little clip for you. I think it was it Colin Miller that fought? We'll take a look at it. But Jack Edwards, one of the greatest announcements for a hockey fight was this fight, and Jack Edwards sounded like a little kid in the schoolyard with this fight. So you want to take a look at it, G.I.?
Yeah, let's take a look at it.
Jam away, Miller with a wild right hand misses, tags him twice on the ear. Vitale's a good fighter, gets right back into this one. Now he's got the ear strap going. Oh, Miller with another jab, and he goes under with an uppercut. He's got Vitale off balance, loses his hat. Oh, he tagged him right in the mud. Vitale with a couple of harmless. Oh, Miller just using Vitale's face as a punching bag. The first fight of the season for the Bruins, and Kevin Miller got his 5 minutes worth.
He got him pretty good at the end, too. High marksman.
Yeah, he was really getting into that.
yeah, he seemed to enjoy. Just like how about last night, or should I say, the Tuesday night when the Bruins scored their 6th goal and Jack Edwards yells out, "Torture chamber!"
He is. He's a riot, man.
Oh, jeez.
He's too funny.
Yeah.
But talking about that fight, here's something that has been gnawing at me. For years they've had a thing where if you've got, in a fight, you drop your gloves. Because the gloves, and back then they didn't wear helmets, the gloves would cut the guys' faces up, so it only made sense.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they have a rule that you can't take your helmet off. I think you should have to take your helmet off, because what it's doing is it's allowing the other team, the other fighter, in this fight. No wonder why Miller kicked his butt. He had the helmet on with a shield, and the other guy's helmet was off. Granted, Miller knocked it off.
Yeah,
but,
right.
You should have to take your helmet off.
Yeah, I agree.
When you're fighting.
Because, let's face it, too. You're punching a guy, and if you're punching him with his helmet on, you're going to end up with a broken or sprained hand or broken fingers hitting the guy with a fiberglass helmet.
Right, and I never understood that. It's like you think they tell him you've got to take your helmet off so the guys aren't breaking their wrists.
Yeah, what's the rule now? If the one guy takes off his helmet first, he gets a 2-minute penalty.
Right. And you remember what they were doing was they were taking each other's helmets off?
Yeah, remember the 2 players? They both agreed to both take each other's helmets off. They both took helmets off, so they both each got 2 extra minutes of penalties.
And they didn't care. Yeah. But it was like to say, F you NHL.
Yeah, right.
But the rule should be take your helmet off.
Yeah.
You drop your gloves, you take off your helmet, you go.
Yeah, and especially too now with the new rule as of last year, where all the players playing from last year on have to wear a shield. So eventually it's going to come to like with the helmets, starting in 1980, everybody that was going to play in the NHL had to wear the helmets unless you were grandfathered in, So, it's going to be the same thing with this. So,
it's just as well, but protect the eye injuries.
Yeah, right, and that's fine. And I agree with that. But at the same time, if you're going to fight each other, it's like, okay, what, you're going to wear shields fighting,
I know.
Just break out the swords.
Yeah, I don't know. You get overprotective, but like you say, it just, and the fighting has slowed down because people, a lot of people don't want to see it. But it's nothing like it used to be. And hey, again, I'll say it's just part of the game. It's a different type of sport,
right?
And it makes the game exciting, and it brings people. I could never tell enough of this story. I think I told it last season. We were at a New Year's Eve game, and the diehard hockey fans are in the living room watching the Bruins game, eating the munchies, drinking the beer, and the girls and whoever didn't want to watch hockey was out in the kitchen. And as soon as we said fight, the kitchen cleared out. Everybody came into the living room to watch the fight. And when the fight was over, they went back to what they were doing. It's human nature, I guess, to watch someone beat someone else's ass. I don't know, but it's part of hockey. But it has been slipping out of there. And like you say, Zach Rinaldo, he's an enforcer. He's a tough guy, but he's not the fighter everyone thinks. But let's see. If he can get rid of the cheap stuff, let's see how he pans out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Speaking of on the other extreme now, the Bruins played Arizona the other night, and they've got that John Scott, that goon that was from Buffalo that time there that
beat up Thornton.
That beat up Thornton there. 6'8" going against 6'2". That guy, he's at no points.
Right.
He's averaging 6 minutes a game. He was just out there the other night to start trouble. It's like guys like that should not. They just shouldn't be allowed to be in the league anymore.
6-0 lead, and it was 25 seconds left.
Yeah,
that's just
he
downright
just
stupid.
has to be a goon. Oh, hey,
Chara should have just went over. I want Chara to just go knock him out.
Right.
Get him out of the league.
I think Chara
Where's Stan Jonathan when you need him?
Yeah, I know it. Yeah. Stan Jonathan would knock him out literally,
just like he did John Ferguson.
Yeah,
knocked him right out of hockey.
Yeah, right. Exactly. But anyways, before I forget, my mind just remembered. I recovered from my brain fart. It was Blake Wheeler. He was the one that was. He was the one that was.
That's who you meant.
He was the one that was wide open in front.
Right.
And But
Because
like
I liked
said,
him when he came up. I liked him, and I wasn't happy when they get rid of him. But that's back when they had a big nucleus,
right?
You know?
Yeah, he had a good first season, and then he didn't really live up. He had that sophomore jinx, and then his third year was just marginal. And
and you had Marshawn
he fell into Claude's doghouse, and then he ended up
they gave up
parting
on him
ways.
early.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I still think
he's
exactly. But you know what though? If you look at it like we were saying, we like Blake Wheeler, but you know what? Blake Wheeler, Erickson, all those guys, they're all very similar the way they play.
Yeah, they're similar players.
So
your Ericksons of the league, the playmakers and the 20-goal scorers they used to be called. Now they're 15, 12-goal scorers.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. So, anyways, hey, I just wanted to talk about one thing. Every day I usually read the NHL news, www.nhl.com, So I went in there and who was it? Kevin Weeks. He usually has an article once a week. Excuse the pun.
He used to write for the Herald.
Yeah. This is another week. This was the goalie.
Their
former goalie, right? And he's also on. He's on the NHL Network. But anyways, he decided to do dream matchups for goalies. Okay, so now he's got Mike Richter versus Jonathan Quick. He's got Sean Burke versus Mike Smith. Okay, but he did this one right here. I started reading this. Okay. Ken Dryden versus Carey Price. Okay, all right. Okay, so I'm thinking to myself,
Dryden all the way.
Really? I'm there thinking to myself, okay, well, all right, Carey Price. I mean, he's played now, I think, at least 5 or 6 seasons. I'm not really sure, but let me see. He doesn't have any Stanley Cups yet. Let me see. Ken Dryden played from 1970-71 to 1978-79. He got, let me see. 6 Stanley Cups, okay?
Yeah.
So now, and granted, the Canadian team from the late 70s, okay, they were just a great team, very defensive-minded, and of course, they had Guy Lafleur out there for the scoring, and and they had some great defensemen, your Savage and your Gainies and all that stuff, okay? But in the early 70s, the 70-71 season and then the 72-73 season, those Canadian teams would not have won Stanley Cup. One would have won the Stanley Cup if they did not have Ken Dryden. So, I mean, to compare these two guys, Kevin, I think that, you shouldn't let the ice tip like that.
No.
You know what I mean? Yeah, you should tip it in one way. Tip it in Dryden's way. I mean, unless Carey Price decides to start, unless the Canadians, he can carry the team and they can win a Stanley Cup.
Well, this year so far he may be.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I see that they finally lost their first game.
Yeah, they finally lost. Were they 9-1?
They're 9-1 now, but I mean, they were the only team in the NHL history to start off 9-0 without even, and it was all in regulation too. So hey, we'll see. Hey, I mean, I'd rather be peaking more towards the playoffs than now. So you know what? Get all those wins out of the way now, and then maybe by the time that we go to the Winter Classic, then maybe they'll be in a slump.
And the Bruins need to get that. It's the same uniforms, same ice, and the same fans, and same basically management. I mean, Sweeney's been in the mix, like you said.
Yeah.
But there's different players on the ice now.
Yeah.
So this, we can't beat the Canadians crap. Enough. You can beat the Canadians. You're just like any other team. They're good. But never mind this. The Canadians always beat the Bruins. This isn't the Bruins of last year. It's not the Bruins of the year before. So let's beat them this year.
Yeah. Well, you know what I like about the Bruins of this year so far when they've started winning is there's a different hero every night. There's not the same couple of people that are scoring, and they're not relying on those people to score. Right. Everybody's contributing, and Claude's sending messages to guys who aren't performing.
Exactly.
Well, they'll either put them on the fourth line or sit them out for a game. I mean, things like that. He's shaking up the lines during the game, and that's what they have needed to do, and now they're doing it. Right. So, hey, speaking of the Winter Classic, I just wanted to make this announcement.
Yeah, the next show we will try to show you the jerseys if you haven't seen them already.
Right. The NHL announces the second season of the Epics. Epics presents the Road to the NHL Winter Classic featuring the Boston Bruins and the Montreal Canadiens.
Can't wait.
Yeah. So that's going to be very interesting. This will be the second year that Epics and the NHL team up for this all-access look inside the lives of these elite professional athletes, their families, and their fans. In addition, U.S. hockey fans will be able to stream each episode of Epics Presents Road to the NHL Winter Classic live as it premieres on Epics and via epics.com and NHL.com.
Right.
Okay, but anyways, the schedule's going to start off where the first one, the premiere episode, is going to be on Wednesday, December 16th at 10 o'clock p.m., 9 o'clock Central. And
What channel?
Well, if you look around, I think that it'll be on the NHL Network. I know it's on Epics too, but I'm not really sure about Epics
I'm
or
sure
whatever.
the network will carry
But I know
it.
the NHL, the NHL Network will carry that, and so it goes from the 16th. Then there's one on the 23rd, the 30th, and then January 6th will be the last one, and that will cover the Classic.
Yes.
That'll be the last one, and they're all at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 9 o'clock Central. So I mean,
That'll be good stuff.
It's always very entertaining to see how everything behind the scenes.
Yeah,
They
did
these
that
guys
last year with the Kings, I think.
Yeah,
it was,
these
right?
guys. It was with the what was it? Now last year it was the Blackhawks. Was
Yeah.
it the Blackhawks and the Capitals?
It might have been.
Yeah,
I can't remember
yeah, I think
now.
it was. But anyways, needless to say, it's all, and especially it's even nicer when your own team is in it. You know?
So it'll be great for us Bruins fans.
Right, exactly.
Get her done.
So.
All right, we'll be wrapping up this episode. That all you have there, G Hikes?
Yeah, just one other thing. Upcoming games, like we were talking about, the Bruins, they're actually going to be playing their first back-to-back games all season, and it's going to be on the road. Friday night in Florida, Sean Thornton's Florida Panthers, and that game will be at 7:30 p.m. And then Saturday, they'll have their final road game before they come back home. They'll be playing the Tampa Bolts, who were the Stanley Cup finalists last year. That game's going to be at 7 o'clock. Then they come back home on Tuesday to verse Tyler Seguin and the Dallas Stars.
Wow.
So hopefully they're just...
a great schedule coming up.
exactly. Yep. So we'll see in those Florida games. You know what? Tampa's tough, and, the Panthers are the Panthers, but you know what? 60-minute efforts. That's all they need.
That's all
Doesn't
they
matter
need.
who it is.
Yep.
So that's pretty much all I've got. Stevie, you got anything else?
No, I just want you to go on Facebook page, Bees Buzz with Stevie D, and YouTube, Bees Buzz with Stevie D. We're not getting a lot of publicity here. I don't know. Leave some comments. Support it. We're trying to get the show a little more exciting, trying to get more replays. We kind of got to watch out for licensing, but I don't think we're going to get bothered by just doing a show with a couple of guys and just keeping it on YouTube, So we do this for you and the fans, and let's have fun with it. I'd like to try to get people to start Skyping in. So this year we're looking to have a lot more exciting of a show than just us two bums just sitting here. But we'll have fun this year. And maybe we'll get a little hockey game going with G. Hikes' hockey game that he picked up at the sporting goods store. So thanks for watching. Tune in next week for Bees Buzz with Stevie D and G Hikes. Go Bruins.